So my guess is that all of you at some time in your life have had what you thought was a really good idea, and then you get in the middle of the situation, you think, this is really, really, really dumb, and I don't know how I'm getting out of this. So I had been in Egypt for about a month. My wife and I were in Egypt from 1984 to 1987. I was teaching English, and she was a nurse in a pediatric unit. And I and 4 other of the volunteers with Midnight Central Committee, we had taken a vacation day and traveled east from Cairo across the desert. We crossed the Suez Canal at Ismailia, and we drove down the west side of the Sinai Peninsula for about an hour and a half because the women in the group wanted to get away from the men in Cairo who are always whistling at them, and they wanted to have a day away. And so I went along as a token male because you needed to have a male in a car in Egypt at that time. And so we get there, and they're just interested in sunbathing. And so I had taken along a snorkel and a mask and some flippers, and I was going to go snorkeling. So I had put my swimming suit on before we left so that I could just take my pants off when we got there. And I took my pants off and discovered that my swimming suit was on backwards. Now, for the females, the male swimming suit, at least that pair, and all my swimming suits actually, there's a very soft mesh thing that's in the front to hold the private parts in a comfortable way, and that's now in the back. And so I'm thinking, well, what do I do? I mean, we're like a half a mile off the main road. There's nobody else around. I could go around the other side of the truck, or I could just go in the truck and switch them around. I'm thinking, I'm not even going to bother. So I put my flippers on, and I put my mask, my snorkel on, and I go swimming out. And I'm realizing this is not really very comfortable. And I'm out in water that's about 15 to 20 feet deep, and there's coral island little things down there, some as big as a stage, some as half as big. And I'm swimming around thinking, how can I solve this problem? And I had a really good idea. I thought, I could just take off one flipper, and I could slide my leg out of the swimming suit. Then I could put that flipper back on, and then I could slide off the other flipper. Yeah, you know where this is going. And slide my leg out of that swimming suit. I could turn my swimming suit around, put that leg back in, put the flipper back on, do the same process over here, and I'm good to go. Well, it worked really well the first half. But I'm swimming with this foot, with the flipper. This foot doesn't have the flipper. And the swimming suit slips out of my hand, and I feel it catch on my flipper, and then all of a sudden there's no weight there. And I look down, and my swimming suit is... Now, fortunately, it didn't go to the sandy bottom. It landed on the coral, which means it's only like 12 foot down instead of 15 to 20. So I'm out there trying to decide what to do. Do I swim back to shore and go down in the annals of an MCC volunteer who lost his swimming suit, and then they would warn all future MCCers about this problem? Or do I dive down there? And I'm thinking, so my little white butt's going to be sticking up as I dive. So I risked it, but I couldn't reach it. I could almost get there, and I'm almost ready to give up. I'm getting tired. And so I finally decide this time when I dive, I'm not going to fill my chest up with air. I'm just going to expel all the air so I'm not so buoyant. And I go down there and I just barely snag it. And I get it. And I come up and I start swimming to shore. I was smart enough not to try to put it back on out there. And so I get into shore where I can stand, and then I'm just there busily putting my swimming suit on when one of the other people decides that she's going to come out and go swimming. And so I'm like hurrying up until she gets there. Fortunately, I got it there, and she said, "How's the coral?" And I said, "Oh, it's great." And I go in, and as I come up out of the water, I look down, and my swimming suit is still on backwards. So I go in the truck, I take my swimming suit off, put my dry clothes on, and they said, "Oh, you're done swimming already?" Yeah, I am. So I honestly have never told that story before this afternoon. My wife was talking to me about what I might tell the story. So I told her, and now you. Anyway.